Hey guys, welcome back. Today, let's talk about when Halo 6 may be set, because how far it is in the future could determine a whole load of factors that will come into play and affect the story. So if you do enjoy, a like goes a very long way, and if you have anything to say regarding this theory or this topic in general, then as usual, do not forget to leave it in the comments down below. Let's begin. Okay, so let's look at Halo Wars 2 first, because the date that it's set is going to be very important for determining when Halo 6 takes place, because we now know that it's going to have a very big influence on its story. So, in April 2559, which is roughly 6 months after Halo 5, the Spirit of Fire travels down to the Ark for the first time and encounters the Banished. Halo 5 takes place at the end of October 2558, so like I said, there's a pretty substantial 6-month time gap in between the two. So now let's look at what Kevin Grace of 343 said about Halo Wars 2's story and its intertwining links to Halo 5, and if it'll have an impact on Halo 6 before we go on. It's absolutely going to. It's a part of what's happening in the universe right now. So yeah, it's absolutely going to have a big impact on what's coming next. It's still early for whatever's going to happen in the future, but I can tell you for sure that if you played Halo 5, there are some important implications in Halo Wars 2 that you'll be able to pick up on. So we've already got our connections that are built in right now. So Halo Wars 2 is not only going to contain links with Halo 5, I mean, how could it not? But it's going to have a big impact on Halo 6. This means that it's not going to be set immediately after Halo 5's ending, which is very interesting because a lot of people, myself included, assumed at one point at least that the ending on San Helios would be exactly where Halo 6 begins. People also thought that what 343 said at the end of the Halo 5 credits, "We look forward to the next step in our great journey together, see you on San Helios," meant that it was just going to pick up where Halo 5 left off on San Helios, but now we know that this isn't the case, although it could still hold some meaning. Right, back to the original point. When is Halo 6 going to be set? So right now, for me, there are two schools of thought. The first one is that it's going to be set not too long after Halo Wars 2, so pretty much as close to Halo 5 as it can be with it being after Halo Wars 2, or two, a very, very long time in the future, and we're talking a year or two. So, if Halo 6 is set shortly after Halo Wars 2, around 6 to 7 months after Halo 5, I can imagine the fight against the Created still to be going on. I can imagine colonies being fought for, and the Created not having total control of the galaxy yet. The Created's rule won't have set in across the entire galaxy. Also, unless the Created show up in Halo Wars 2's story, which I think is very, very unlikely, the Ark will still be in play, and humanity know how important it is in the grand scheme of things, especially when you've got this massive dictator trying to control the galaxy. Given that the evil Cortana that we now have is confirmed to be a rampant fragment of Cortana, she very likely retains Cortana's full knowledge of the Ark, so she's going to know how important it is as well. This is what makes me believe that if it isn't set too far in the future, the Created and the Allies will still be fighting for control of the inner and maybe even outer colonies too. The Ark would be the first port of call for Cortana once she has control of the galaxy and has effectively turned it into what would pretty much be a police state. For the campaign, this would mean that a lot of missions would be set in different environments and on loads of different planets, which would make for fantastic gameplay, and also it'd add a really cool environment palette for 343 to make a load of really awesome multiplayer maps from. It could also open up the possibilities of another Long Night of Solace style space mission, fighting for control above a planet against Covenant and Forerunner spacecraft. Now, have a think about that, and try and tell me with full honesty that that would not be fucking badass. The ending of Halo 6, or maybe even the final act of the story, will very likely have us travelling to the Ark, maybe chasing Cortana, or trying to get there before her. I mean, it's no conspiracy theory that the Ark is going to play a massive role in this story arc, and the fact that Halo Wars 2 has such a heavy focus on it only makes this more evident. It's what's going to happen on the Ark and the outcome of Halo Wars 2 that's going to dictate how and what role it's going to play in the future of this story. But on the other hand, what if there is a time skip? And I'm not talking a few months after Halo Wars 2, I'm talking a couple of years. Cortana's police state will very likely be in full power. Trade and travel routes between planets will be cut off, and airspace above planets will very likely be dominated by Guardians that can just EMP strike anything that tries to leave the planet. It'd give enough time for most Covenant species to finally ally with Cortana and begin fighting for her, and also for her to get a load of new tech out into the battlefield, maybe locating and recreating mass numbers of old Promethean vehicles and weapons, and hell, maybe even Promethean soldier types and species too, as well as upgrading the new Covenant Armada with a load of new and old weaponry too. Hell, I'm still holding out for the Spectre to return, so maybe this is the chance? In regards to the campaign, maybe they could do what Gears of War 4 did and have a few little mini missions at the start of the campaign set in the time gap between Halo 5 and Halo 6, where we very briefly play in a bunch of conflicts, so it can help the player sort of get up to speed with the current state of the Halo universe and not feel like they've just missed out on 2 years of history. Personally, I think it's going to be set very far in the future, a couple years at the very least. I think Cortana will be making a final push for Earth to try and get access to the Arc Portal at Voy, and will finally get to fight on Earth again. In regards to the Sanghelios thing said at the end of the credits, like I said before, I can honestly see a Gears of War 4 styled playing through the time gap set of missions, and one of these mini missions would be set on Sanghelios, maybe even directly after Halo 5's ending. Maybe you have to escort a Pelican with Dr. Halsey and the Arbiter on in a Wasp and try and safely escort it back to the Infinity. I don't know, I think that would be a really cool idea for a mission, maybe, like I said, for one of these little mini missions at the start of the campaign. It'd satisfy everyone's taste for a space mission, and in my opinion, it'd just be a pretty badass mission. I don't know, I'm kind of just making up random things right now, so I'm gonna stop doing that. The bottom line is that I can honestly see Halo 6 being set in 2560, or at the very, very earliest 2559, to try and really enforce the creator's rule, and personally, I think that's the best way to go with this story. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. As usual, any theories of your own, leave them in the comments down below. Next time, we are going to take a look at all of the remaining monitors in the Halo universe, which should be a fairly interesting sort of biographical video, if biographical's even a fucking word. I have no idea. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll catch you then.